There are a lot of online platforms out there with huge audiences, and that can be very attractive to us as creative professionals because we can go in, we can tap into those audiences, in turn grow our audience, and it can be a good thing. Unfortunately, the problem is we don't really have any ownerships of those platforms, and as time goes on, the powers that be can make decisions that really aren't in our best interest. So that's happened again with another one of these big platforms. They're making some choices that really could be devastating to a lot of independent creative professionals. So I want to talk about what's happening there and what we can do to protect us from this happening in the future. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And once we create these things, usually we try to share them online. And there's a lot of places out there that you can share your work or sell your work, market your work. And a lot of times that's really cool, but like I said, we don't really have any ownership of the places that we put this stuff on for the most part. There are some things that we do have ownership of, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But a lot of times we're dealing with, things like here on YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, and Etsy. And Etsy recently has made sort of, in my opinion, a really bad decision, or something that is not good for creators. What they're doing is they are encouraging you to ship items for free on orders over, I think, $35. Now, I've been selling on Etsy for a while, and this is not really a good thing, because I think what they're saying is that, we've got to compete with Amazon and these big box stores and things like that. But Etsy was never, when it started off, that's not what it was about. It wasn't competing with these things, because it was entirely something different. Because we're on Etsy, these are mostly handmade things. They're not like, these knockoffs, things that are made in China and just like mass-produced items. These are homemade, crafted items. And so why are we looking to compete with, these big box stores? I think when people purchase on Etsy, they know what this is about. They know these are usually not one of a kind. They could be one of a kind, but these are more specialized items made by artists. Now, even though now, there's been certain things with Etsy where now you are seeing a lot more of these mass-produced items and things on there, but that's not what it started out as, and it's almost become something else. They may not say it's becoming something else, but it's starting to become something else, and this newest decision is just another step in that road, and it's really, the road that we're going down is not good. So I am starting to think maybe Etsy isn't the right place for me to be, and I've been thinking about that for a while. But I still have my stuff on Etsy, even though I'm trying to build stuff elsewhere, and we're going to talk about that. But this all came to my attention from another art channel, Rafi's art channel, and if you haven't seen that, I suggest you check it out. I will put a link in the description. But there's a team of artists, Rafi and his wife, I believe they were husband and wife, Klee, and basically Klee did this rant where she talks about all the negative things about this decision to try to get people on Etsy to do this free shipping thing. Now, I mean, I could do a whole video on this, but really I would just encourage you to go watch that video. I will leave a link, because basically everything she said I'm in agreement with, and I can't really add much more than that, other than just to talk about my thoughts with not just Etsy, but a lot of these platforms are doing this. This has happened with like Facebook, and it's happening on YouTube. And what do we do? Because it's like they draw us in, and once we're embroiled in the sort of ecosystem there, and we're relying on that, then that's when they start to pull the rug out from under us. And we've got to find a better way to do this. I'm not saying that we can't just, the problem is they've got the audience. That's where the audience is. So we need to go there. But once we're there, we need to start trying to pull people away from those audiences and get them to come to where we are, someplace where we own. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So we're going to do some artwork. Let's get into it. Alright, so this whole thing with Etsy, it's really nothing new. This has happened on so many different platforms before. The social media platforms, obviously Facebook, that was, in the beginning you were building an audience on your Facebook page and everything, and then all of a sudden they decided, well, we're not going to show the audience that you built your stuff unless you unless you pay ads and you want to push your work out to them. That happen Facebook and Instagram. It's happening here on YouTube now. They're really starting to promote less and less. I mean, originally it's called YouTube for a reason. I mean, it was supposed to be you as the individual, but now they're kind of prioritizing like the big media companies and things like that. So this stuff happens all the time, whether it's the social media platforms or online stores. Store envy started tacking on all kinds of other fees and things like that. Creative Market for selling digital goods, they started to roll out this subscription thing where you could pay for a subscription fee and you can download pretty much everything you wanted. So different things like these are changes that these companies make, and in a way it is their prerogative to make these changes, but when it starts to move away from what they originally were, yeah, and it's just a bummer. But it shows us, it gives us a good reason and cause to start building our own systems and our own place where we can sell our products and things like that, or we can market ourselves. And again, we don't have the kind of audience that they do, but if we can tap into those audiences and bring them to us, I think that's really important, because when we use the big social media outlets and the online stores and these online marketplaces and things like that, we're really just on, it's like we're on borrowed time and rented land. I mean, they can basically do whatever they want. So it's almost like we can't live without them. But I think you could see this coming. It's like any platform like this, no matter how much you love it, eventually the more they grow, things are going to start to change, and it happens all the time, and we just need to be prepared for that. And so I want to talk about some of the things that we can do. The main thing is, if you don't already have your own website with your own online store, that's priority number one. Now, I've had that for a while. I don't bring in as many sales as I do on my own store right now as I would like a combination of like Etsy or some of the other, other online marketplaces that I'm at. But I'm trying to build that, and one of the ways you do that is with a mailing list. So that's kind of priority number two. You got to build a mailing list, and we could do a whole video on that, or you could just research building a mailing list. But you got to have, like a loss leader or some sort of incentive to bring people in. To get people signed up for your mailing list. I've got a really good one, the Comic Maker Starter Kit, that tends to, because it's just a really awesome product that a lot of people pay money for, but I give it out for free. So that helps to build my mailing list. But there's a number of different ways you can do that. And I don't know the policy on a lot of. I'm not exactly sure what Etsy's policy is. But I know with like Creative Market, I've seen people, if you go to their stores on Creative Market, they'll have a banner and it'll say, get X amount free products, go here, and then you join up through the mailing list. And then once you've got your mailing list, you own that, and whatever happens, even if like Google, if you're using Gmail, and if Google decides, well, we're going to start deciding for you what email you get and all that. I don't know if that'll happen, but if it does, you can still go to another email platform. It's not exactly like Facebook, where if you build something there, you're pretty much, it's kind of hard to pull that stuff off. So no matter where email goes, whether you're using Gmail or whatever, it's really makes a lot of sense to build that mailing list. And but anyway, so if you can get people, say if on Etsy. And you can do this through, like when you ship things out. Anytime I ship something out through Etsy, I've got a little postcard on there that talks about my online store. And I think I need to make that a little more obvious, and tell some of the benefits, why if they want to purchase from me, they should go directly to my site. Because I can do a lot of things that, even though Etsy has has that audience, there's a lot of things that I can do to entice people to purchase directly from me instead of Etsy, because there are different fees and things associated with Etsy that I don't have to deal with as much, and there's just a lot of things that you you can do to get people to shop from you as opposed to one of these other places. But you kind of have to siphon the audience away from them, and you can do that again when you send out your package. Say, oh, here's some of the stuff you can get if you purchase directly from me. And you can also do that when you're corresponding, when you send out your thing saying your packet, your item is on its way. If you want, you can share this on social media, and you can tell where your social media is and all this stuff, and you can do it that way. So here are a few of the things that I'm going to do to sort of entice people to leave Etsy, not leave Etsy, but if they want to purchase from me, why they should purchase directly from me rather than going through Etsy. One of the things I like to do is, with people order from my site, I like to throw in a lot of extras, and also when people do purchase from Etsy, I throw in extras too. Not as much, but if I continue to go through Etsy, and I do get sales from Etsy, I'm going to have to make some changes. So you're going to be getting more if you shop from me directly. One of the things I do, and this especially works with international orders. Now, Etsy is asking you to kind of roll the price of that extra shipping into the cost of your products. That works. That can work. That may work with my products, but it's not going to work for everyone. Everyone's got different products. That's a little difficult to ask everyone to do that. And what happens if you roll that price in, then what happens to the international buyers, because they're paying extra on top of that extra shipping. But one thing I do for international buyers is I give them special things, exclusive prints and things that only international buyers can get, and I throw that extra stuff in, because the thing is, the shipping is expensive. And that's why Etsy's saying this, because they're saying people will sometimes abandon your cart once they realize what the shipping cost is. They say about 25% of people do that. And I understand that, especially if it's international shipping, which is so expensive, but it's kind of unavoidable unless you're like Amazon, who, they're not having to pay the same prices and everything as we pay as independent stores. But one of the things, and this depends on what kind of merchandise you sell. I sell a lot of prints and things like that, which are pretty lightweight. So for international, I can just put those exclusive prints in there. It doesn't really weigh anything extra, so it's not costing extra to put more in the package. So it's almost like it offsets the cost of shipping if they're getting something worth whatever if they're getting something extra that's worth what they're paying for the shipping. And that goes as well. Something that I'm going to start probably doing is like a buy one get one, like with my prints. So if you're purchasing from me directly as opposed to Etsy, if you buy, you may have to pay for shipping where you wouldn't pay for Etsy. But the cost of what I sell a print for, it's a lot more than what that shipping would be. So if you can buy one get one free, or get one at a discount, that's a way better deal than whatever you're paying for shipping, then that makes a lot of sense. So that's one way that I can offer something that Etsy can't. I mean, of course I could. I don't know if Etsy has a way to set that up, but I'm not going to bother with that, because I'm using Etsy for their audience, but I want to get them to me, so I'm going to offer more through my site. So that's one thing I can do, is like a buy one get one. And I also have all kinds of different sales and things like that. And these are all things that I advertise through my mailing list, whether it's a coupon code, all that stuff. But it really is important. I can't stress it enough. You got to get your own website. I use Squarespace. There's other things out there. Like I said, you got to kind of beware of things like Store Envy and stuff like that, because you don't own those either. So be careful with that and start building that mail list. So where do I go from here as far as Etsy? Do I start pulling everything off of Etsy? Do I get rid of Etsy? I don't know. Do I opt in for some of this free shipping? I'm at a place where it's possible that I could make that maybe work for me with a few changes. I don't like the idea, but here's the thing. Platforms like this are always going to change, and sometimes, as much as I hate to kind of bow down to something that I don't agree with, sometimes you just have to adapt, because everything is going to change. But the core thing is you got to get people to you, and then just do what you can, because same thing with Facebook. When that stuff changed, I don't use Facebook the same way that I did before, but I'm still on there. So what can I do? In my situation, because I am mostly selling prints, there are other things I sell. Like, for one thing, I sell t-shirts, and but those are print on demand, drop shipped from another company through Printful. And like, if somebody, in order to hit that 35, and most of my items are under $35, so that could be sort of a plus, because if you want that free shipping, you'd have to get more than one item. The items that I do have that are above that, like my messenger bags, those are pretty heavy. So for me, I would just have to pull those messenger bags off of Etsy and only offer those on my personal site, which is another reason that I can get people, if you want to get those exclusive things, you can get them from my site. So I can offer more products on my own site, which is another way to get people over there. Same thing with the t-shirts. Those would have to be exclusively on my site, because the problem is, if somebody buys one of those for, say, $25 on Etsy, and they add a print onto that to make it at the $35 dollar amount or more, those are shipping from two different places, so that's not going to work. I am going to be losing money on that shipping there. So I would have to totally rework and mostly just sell prints and things like that, which I think that is my biggest sellers are usually prints. So I could make that work, and they might even sell better because of that. But I'm in sort of a unique situation. Most of my products are like I said, prints. Other than the time it takes for me to create and design a print, and you've got to factor that in as well. But the actual prints, there's a lot of markup there that I can kind of play around with. So will I do that? I don't know. Do I want to play Etsy's game? I mean, kind of what's my alternative? I mean, my big goal is to get these customers to my site. So if I close down my Etsy, I lose that opportunity to try to get them to my site. Because really, if I do the free shipping route, I'd have to pull some of these products out, but they would be on my website, and when I actually ship the order, just put a promo in there saying, with this, thank you for purchasing from me. Here's a coupon for, something really enticing. So if I can get that repeat customer to come to my website and let them know that there are a lot more items you can get, that say this print you just bought is also available as a t-shirt on my website or whatever. So just so they know, so I just want to offer more on my website than what's offered at Etsy, but probably just keep it open. So I don't know. I really don't like it, but this seems like the way it's going. And like I said, sometimes you just have to. I mean, it's these companies. They own the platform. They can do what they want. We may not like it, but that's kind of the price we pay for dealing with this. I mean, whatever platform this YouTube thing could all end tomorrow, and there's not a whole lot we can do about it other than be prepared and not rely. Don't put all your eggs into one basket. So Etsy is just one thing for me, and where it might have been great before, and it may not be that great in the future, but do I get rid of it totally? I mean, I've still got stuff on I've got stuff on Redbubble and Designed by Humans and Society6 and all these other websites. I've got things on Creative Market that bring in money. I've got things on Design Cuts. I've got things on We Work for Them. All of these different avenues, and they all pull a little bit here and there. So some do better than others, but I don't just pull the stuff away from the ones that are only bringing in less than the big ones. So I guess I don't know. Like I said, this is all new, so I'm trying to figure out what to do. But the main thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to offer anything special on Etsy. I'm just going to, take advantage of their audience, try to bring them over to where I am, and then really pack the value into what I'm doing. And the other thing to do is just let anyone, if you have an Etsy store and if you've made a number of Etsy sales and everything, you can contact the people that bought from you before and let them know about your new site and everything. I don't know if I would go into the reasoning why, because as a customer they may not have the same reaction, because they might be like, Well, we like free shipping. What's wrong with that? So, but just let them know that there's something else that they can get on your own site. But you gotta, first, if you don't already have that site, I'm in a better position because I already have my site and I have my mailing list. I started probably a little later than I should have, but it's never too late to start. So get your website up and running with an online store. You know, I use Squarespace. You can use whatever you want, Shopify, whatever, and get that mailing list going. And we got to get people to come to where we are, someplace we own. All right, so those are some of my thoughts on some of these online platforms like Etsy, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and why it's probably in our best interest not to rely on any one of these platforms, and maybe not even rely on only these platforms. Like say if we're on all these platforms and that's all we're on, not a good thing. We need to start building our mailing list. We need to start getting people to our own websites and things like that, because we don't have any control over this, and money rules everything. And if there's more money in sending people to a different area that doesn't benefit us little guys, companies will do that. It's just the nature of things, and that's the way the world works. So we've got to be smart about this. We've got to figure out how we can build audience. They're using us, so why not use them? Use them to build our audiences, but try to pull them away onto our own platform, something that we own, something that we can control, and otherwise we're just going to get squashed. So that's all I have to say about that. I want to know what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comment section. I will talk to you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.